All right, so now let's take care of all of that coming together to finally be available in the card details activity so that we can then actually select the color and see it here under the label color view. All right, so in order to do so, we will need to have a function which will return a colors list. So I'm going to create a new function inside of card details activity. So here, fun, and actually we can make it private as well. So private fun colors list, which will return an array list of strings. All right, so first of all, I'm going to create a new list of colors. So colors list, which will be an array list of strings. And I'm going to say, or I'm going to create an object of array list here. Now I can go ahead and add to the list. And I'm just going to show you the different colors that I want to use here. So it's those colors that you can see here. So I just add a bunch of colors here. You can select different colors if you want to. It's free for you to decide. And then I can return the colors list. By the way, you can also return a different amount of colors. You are completely free to choose whatever you want here. All right, then we will need a function which will set the color. So private fun set color, and that one will basically set the TV selected color. This one here, TV selected label color text to be empty, because in our case currently, if we look at it, it says select color. So this is the text that we currently have, and we want this to be an empty string, so no text at all. And instead we want to change the background of it. So here, set background color, which will be color.parse. And here not colors, but color parse color with M selected color. Now, by the way, we of course need to create this M selected color variable. So this global variable, and also let's import color here from Google Graphics, and here let's create this global variable at the very top. So here, private var M selected color, which will for now be an empty string. All right, and now we need a function to actually trigger our dialog. All right, so let's create one. Private fun label colors list dialog. All right, so what are the details that we need from label color list dialog? Well, we need the context, the list, the title, and the selected color. So let's prepare all of those. So val colors list should be an array list of strings, which will be a colors list, or where we'll just use the colors list function to get all of the colors. All right, and then now that we have those colors, we can now go ahead and prepare the list dialog. So val list dialog will be object label color list dialog, which now needs of course the context, then the colors list, then the text that we want to display, and here I want to use the resources that we prepared, which means it will be the string select label color, which is going to be this string here. Okay, so that's the one that I want to use here. And now we can define the code of it. So we can now go ahead and say, for example, by the way, I miss a bracket here. So here we need to implement the on item selected, because if we look at it, we have this abstract function on item selected. So if you use label color list dialog, you need to implement its members. So let's do that. Implement the member on item selected. Now we have a little to do here. So what do we want to do once we selected an item? Well, then we get the color, right? And we want to set that color to be the selected color. And also we want to then call select color or set color, which is this function which will then set the current color as the new background of the set label. So of this select color label here. Now, of course, we need to trigger all of that. And in order to trigger it, I will add an on-click listener for this text view. Okay. So in our onCreate function here, we can give our TV selected label color an on-click listener. On-click listener will be calling label colors list dialog, which is this function that we just created. So it should go ahead and use that. Now, of course, once we created this list dialog here, we need to show it somewhere as well. Otherwise, it will be not worth to create it, right? So that's the whole idea behind this label color list dialog. You could even call this one show label list color dialog. So this function, you could call it differently, but I think it does what it should do. So it should now display the list dialog. Okay, that by itself is already pretty cool. But what I want to do is, of course, I want to not only display the color, but I also want to pass it to my card. So the card later on, when we reload the page or this card, it should know that we actually want to display a certain color, because otherwise it won't know. So our card currently doesn't know anything about colors. That's what we need to change. So let's go over to this card and we can see now it works. So now we can select the color, and you can also see that it even goes into the field right here. But of course the card, as I said, doesn't know anything about that. So let's go to our card model and let's adjust it a little bit, because if we look at it here, the card, what it knows is the name, who created it, and who is assigned to it, but it knows nothing about its color. So I'm just going to add a field here, which will be val label color, which will be a string that is empty by default. And now we can, of course, update the card details. All right, so we have this function here, update card details. Here we, of course, also now need to pass in the color. And luckily enough, we have the color here, as we can just go ahead and add a new entry called mSelectedColor. Okay, so overall it's going to look like this. So we create a card now, and this card also has a selected color. So now we will store that color in the database as well. Of course, we're not loading it yet. Or do we? Let's look at the onCreate. We're not actually loading it yet, but at least we're passing it to the database. So let's see if that's actually the case. Because once we click update in the onCreate function, we update the card details. All right, so let's see. Let's go to card 1 and list 2. Let's select the color, for example, this green. Let's click on update. All right, now let's go to the back end. Let's check out list 2 here. So it says card 1, and that's actually the wrong list. So here, list 2 has the card here, which has this color. So let's see if that is actually the right color. And you can see it's this green here. And that looks a lot like the green that I have selected here. All right, so that seems to work. Okay, and that's it for this video. And the next one, we will of course also want to read the color to display it and so forth. So see you in the next one.